You're listening to My Grito Podcast Network, celebrating the culture of Chicanos and Latinos one story and voice at a time. Listen to more My Grito Podcast Network shows over at mygrito.net. Connect on social, on Instagram and Facebook at My Grito, the My Grito Podcast Network.
3, 2, 1. Super Steve Flores.
How you doing?
Thanks for coming out, dude, and doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me out, man. Thank you for having me. I've been following you guys. We're all part of my Grito family. And I always check out, everyone else, see what they're doing. And everyone has their own style and their own flavor, So it's always good to do that. I listen to all kinds of podcasts, not only to get, I would say, pointers and see how people do it. Mm-hmm. I do come from a radio background, but it's way different. This is just more conversation, more, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to like talking about the music and, leading into a song or whatever. But yeah, man. So, I'm a fan.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Your kind words. And so you do have a radio background, mm-hmm. and your radio background is KROQ, correct?
KROQ, yeah.
So how long were you with KROQ, and what was that like?
I think it was about 18 years total.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to radio school.
Wait, they have a radio? They had a radio?
They used to be.
Really?
Yeah, they used to be. My dad actually went to radio school. He went to some other old school ass radio school. And it's crazy because I just bought a home and I found these boxes and it's all his old tapes of his recordings and his commercials and stuff. So I was really rad to find. He went to the Columbia School of Radio.
Columbia School of Radio.
I went to the Academy of Radio Broadcasting.
Okay.
All right. And I went there and then I left and then I did all kinds of different jobs, man. I used to be the editor of Dirt Pilot Magazine. All kinds of just craziness in my life. And then I met, through a friend, we met Lightning, who was the producer of the morning show. And at the time he was doing a magazine called Cali. And I was doing a part of the magazine, which was called Cali's Best, which whether it was Cali's Best Tacos, Best Strip Club, Best whatever. So we started doing that. And then Lightning knew about my interest in radio. He liked my personality. He liked who I was. He knew that I went to school. And then one day out of the blue, we're going to our office and we get a phone call and he's like, hey, come and do an interview tomorrow morning. I was like, what? Dude, let's do it. So we go and it's like 5:00 in the morning on the Kevin and Bean morning show. And then he's like, oh, you're up next, bro. So we go to the studio. He opens it and he introduces me as Super Steve. So that name was born right
just right there?
Right then and there. And yeah, I always say it could have been Stupid Steve. It could have been a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Super Steve, probably because of my, my size. So, but it was awesome, man. And everyone, from there on called me Super or Steve, whatever. And yeah, man, that led to an amazing radio career. When you go to school, they always tell you're going to have to leave to come back. You're going to have to go somewhere else and, do your thing and then come back. Man, I was in the Super Bowl from the get. You know what I'm saying? I skipped college. I skipped high school straight to the Super Bowl, bro. And because Kevin and Bean because I know we're the second market to New York, but we have cars. In New York, they have buses, so no one's really listening to the radio as much.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So here, everyone's listening. 80,000 on a bad day in the morning.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
80,000 people?
Yeah, that's what I was told. So
whoa.
And then I would receive emails from people like, this one crazy email I received. It was like, hey, my son says he loves being Mexican because Super Steve's Mexican. I was like, what? So you start hearing those kind of things, and that gets to you, man. It really does. I remember being a kid, being in high school, and I told my friend Andres, we call him Chito, I said, I'm going to be on KROQ. He's like, yeah, right, bro. Come on, dude, whatever. From Kevin and Bean, I started doing nights as well. So one night I was there, answered the phone. I'm like, who's this? Going to record it to play it. And he's all, bro, it's Chito, man. What's up? You did it. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck, yeah, we did too. Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, man. I mean, I've lived career-wise and opportunities and stuff of that nature. I've lived a dream, dude, to this point in my life. I mean, I own a home. So one night I was laying there and I was thinking to myself, man, you've done, you've seen, you've met. I mean, man, you've done so much, and more than most people have gotten opportunity to do, man. And I've seen every band you can think of in a small place, in a big place. Like we had Korn one time at someone's backyard and they had a barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, it's been crazy. It's been a hell of a ride, and it's been a hell of the 18 years at KROQ were amazing. I met a lot of great people. And then just the friends that I have, Mario, I met through KROQ. Because of KROQ, I met Mario, and that's part of the West Coast Pop Lock podcast that we have, and then Johnny as well. So those guys became my friends, and so we do our thing. And then Rob, I met him at KROQ as well. He used to do sales there. He was on the street team, and then he went to sales. So we used to call him Bubbles.
Why Bubbles?
Because hey man, here's the thing about nicknames, man. You can't give yourself your own nickname,
right?
First of all. And the more you hate it, the more it's going to stick. So that's my one thing to whoever out there. If you hate it, don't express your hatred for that nickname, or it's going to just
take it.
I love this.
Oh yeah, you're like, hell yeah. Next, make a shirt, have a shirt that says your name, and make them believe that you really like it.
And they're going to change it.
They'll change it, or they'll stop calling you it.
Amber, get the cricket out. We're making shirts tonight.
So he came and he was saying that they called him Mumbles. And I took that as Bubbles.
Oh.
And he's like, yeah, they call me Mumbles in high school. And I was like, what, Bubbles? He's like, no, Mumbles. And nah, bro. As soon as everyone heard Bubbles,
it's
that
Bubbles.
was it. Sorry, Rob. But yeah.
That's a new one. Why didn't he mention that when he was on the podcast?
Oh, yeah.
That was a core memory he didn't want to bring up.
Yeah, but Bubbles was a name that we gave him. And like I said, man, I've had a great life to this point, man. I mean, just everything that's happened. I've never allowed anything to get in my way. I don't want to say the word I don't care, but I just don't, like, I'm big, cool. Most people will be shy and hide and, I don't want to be out there. I don't care, man. I don't see it. I don't see what you're seeing. All I see is the opportunities that I'm getting. All I see is the fun that I'm having, the life that I'm living. I'm not seeing the physical, which is good, but also bad, because you get to the point where you have to start taking care of yourself, And that's where I'm at now in my life, where I'm like, okay, man, we got to really change things up, because I want to live longer,
Yeah.
Right.
It's not for vanity. It's more for
100%.
health, right?
I'm good looking as it is, as a big dude.
Yeah.
So the vanity, whatever. But imagine now as a thin dude, and then I get to do more stuff. I get to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's always that. I had a good friend of mine, Mark, and he was 480, I think he said. Now he's like 185. And he's like, man, I wish I would have done it 10 years earlier, to enjoy more of my life. But yeah, man, that's the one thing I think that that's my main focus right now, is just to get into good shape. I'm not saying I'm going to be 160, 180, but if I can get down to a really healthy, 200, 220 and feel good, I think I'll be cool.
Yeah. What are you doing now to reach that goal?
I've given up a lot of stuff. I haven't had Cokes or sodas of any kind for like about 3 years.
Dang, 3 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a frequent Coca-Cola drinker, it's hard.
It was hard at
first.
It's
easy. It's like right there. It's everywhere. It's at the liquor stores. You go to a fast food joint or a nice restaurant. It's either alcohol or sugared up drinks or water.
And it's free refills.
Exactly.
The 2 liters cheaper than the can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always, it's available and it tastes great.
Yeah, of course.
You eat something, especially Mexican food, bro. You eat some tacos or something, actually, hey, pasa la coca.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that relief. But I gave up Cokes, even drinking alcohol for the most part, you know what I'm saying? I rarely drink. I like to save it for occasions or for, when we're hanging out with family or something like that.
Yeah.
A party or something. But for the most part, that, getting up and walking, in the mornings, just trying to do little changes that I can do for a time where it becomes habit. And I think in the past, what I've done is that I've jumped full force and try to do as much as I could. And what's happened is, I'll lose some weight and then you get burned out and then you stop and then you're back where you started. As opposed to creating little habits that you can go and change little by little. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, Coke's 3 years, cool, done. I won't have another Coke ever in my life again. Alcohol, like I said, I mean, I'm never going to say never. I have a lot of family, a lot of friends, and, sometimes you're just hanging out and talking stories and, the chelas come out and it is what it is, or the firme mezcal comes out, you pass one to the homie, pass one to the primo, and start talking about old times, start talking about our parents or, stuff that you used to do when you were a kid. So, I'm not going to say never to alcohol, especially, stuff, when you're talking with your families and you're partying and stuff like that. And then food, trying to cut sugar, man. I think that's the craziest part.
There's sugar in everything. Yeah. Everything. Like 90% of our food, I'm serious. It's like 90% of our food, especially like our super high processed food. Oh, yeah. Has a lot of sugar. Corn syrup. It's not even real sugar. It's corn syrup.
I went to visit Bencomo, Guanajuato, where my mom's from. I hadn't been there in about 30 some odd years.
Whoa, really? Guanajuato?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I went, and on my trip there, I lost 5 pounds. And I was like, what? We didn't not allow ourselves to eat anything. Mm-hmm. We ate what we wanted. Yeah. We the crazy thing, huevos escondidos, bro. So it's a corn tortilla.
Explain to me. What is that?
Translation: hidden eggs.
Hidden eggs. It's a corn tortilla, and when it puffs up, they slice it and they throw an egg in there, and then they fry it. Ooh. And then they put it and they serve it to your plate, and then you put salsa de molcajete made right there. You put that on top, and you just eat it. Stuff like that. You're eating all this stuff, and so I was thinking, man, I had to gain a couple pounds. I lost 5 pounds when I was there for 1 week. It's because it's so natural, the food. They're killing it there. The eggs aren't processed. They're from their backyard. You know what I mean? The flour, they're making it. Or the corn or whatever, so.
Yeah, the cow or the pig was butchered this morning and, just moved throughout the rancho.
Yeah. And that was even here when I was growing up, when my grandparents were here. I remember coming home from kindergarten and my grandma would kill a chicken. That's why they survived so long. My grandparents lived to be about, I would say about in their 80s, almost 90s. Yeah. And then that's what it was, They're eating chicken and, it's fresh. You're playing with the chicken before you go to school. You come back, you're eating pollo.
You're like in caldo or something.
Yeah, our neighbors, I think he's like 92, going to be 93 this year. And man, this guy is he's still doing yard work. He's still taking his walks early in the morning. Like he is very active and he does everything.
Yeah.
We just celebrated my great grandfather's 100th birthday, and we went to Sinaloa, his ranch and everything. Nice. So it's testament that people from ranches and people that live off their land and their things. I mean, you live longer. Look at him, 100 years. Yeah,
what do they call it? They're calling it like something like because they move naturally. Like there's some regions like in Asia, because the way that their culture is set up. Like you go to an Asian home, right, and they're sitting on the floor, so that over time throughout their life they're sitting down and getting up, and sitting down and getting up, and some of them don't have cars, so they're riding bikes or they're walking to wherever. So I think it's just like culture has a lot to do with the longevity of like a race or a community.
Yeah, and it's the movements, like you said, the movement of going down and getting up. And so I think when you don't have a remote, you have to get up and change the TV. You know what I'm saying? You don't have, your restroom is outside, and you have to walk way out there, in the ranchos. So you have to go outside. So everything is, you're making the masa for certain things, by hand. Like my aunt used to do that. I used to go to Ensenada, and my dad's brother has a ranch there, and my aunt would make tamales, but they'd go get the corn.
Yeah.
And she would grind it. And it's like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it, we go to the store, we just buy the tamales already made. You know what I'm saying?
We don't even walk to the store. We get in the car and drive.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, it does have a lot to do with culture. And once you go, like I said, I was in Bangkok walking around, tasting all this great food, and I came back. I was like, wow. So we're headed back in December again. So
you're like, I'm going for another 5 pounds.
Yeah, I'll probably stay 2 weeks. That way I can lose 10 pounds. You know what I mean? Trying to work on that 10.
But even like you yourself, like for me, I've had the accessibility of going to Mexico all the time, to Sinaloa. My mom's from Ensenada. So, you know, I have the best of both worlds. And even just the taste of things is so different. Like even Ensenada, that's not as far from here or even from a border town. It's like everything tastes astronomically different than just crossing over. And it's crazy.
What part of Ensenada?
I mean, it's called like I'm trying to think of like,
because my family's from Santo Tomas.
Oh, Santo Tomas is a little bit more inner. We're like right in the city.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have family in the city as well.
Yeah.
But my cousin, she now has a winery called Marina Wines.
Oh, nice. Ensenada. So they're in the winery. We're like in like Chapultepec, like you know, like that kind of area, like closer to the mountain side of it, like the cerro right there and all that.
See, I have a lot of family in Ensenada.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so do I. I have cousins, aunts, uncles. You name it, I have it there.
How's Guanajuato?
Guanajuato's cool. I mean, I went to Pancamo. It was cool, man. You always have those. It's crazy, you know. They're shooting. They're doing this, man. They're shooting everywhere, bro. Yeah. They're shooting here. You know what I mean? I hear the cops every single night. You know, it's
that's
everywhere.
always the thing. You tell somebody from LA that you're going to a different country or a place in Mexico, and they're like, "Are you serious? You're gonna go over there right now?" Oh, it's bad, bro.
That's what I told you when you went to Sinaloa.
Yeah, they're like, "Are you okay? Like, is everything fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was."
But I think
there was probably more shooting here in LA than there is in Sinaloa. I'm not kidding.
But I think it's a brutality, and I think that's what I think people, when they see that, like, 10 guys beheaded, or you know what I'm saying, the brutality of it, I think is more. It's crazier, and they show more. So now you're like, oh my God, they're chopping heads off. And here you're like, oh yeah, it was a drive-by, some cholo got shot, whatever.
Yeah.
But
or a mass shooting and all.
Yeah, there's mass shootings here. There's no mass shootings in Mexico.
No.
I mean,
other than the cartel ones.
No, well, like of kids or going into a mall or going into like a school. I'm not gonna say there is none, but to the amount of that we have here, yeah, no.
Yeah, I think, Amber, you said it was like, if violence happens, you're not. I mean, you have to be involved, right? You have to be involved in some way.
And the people that live there always say that. The people that live there always say, "Well, what are you looking for?
Yeah,
are you looking for drugs? Are you looking to do something? Are you in the place where you're not supposed to be?"
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And I think that carries on here because when a police officer pull someone over, I mean, gets roughed up, a Latino gets roughed up or something, the abuelitas are the ones like, wow, what were you doing?
Right.
Where were you at? Were you supposed to be there? You know what I'm saying? And they have that mentality still from Mexico. It's like, hey, what were you doing? Where were you at? What was going on? You shouldn't have been there. But
yeah. So they carry that to here. Here, I mean, yeah, you can be at the wrong place, the wrong time, but too, it's just happening.
No, it does, yeah.
Everywhere, yeah. But yeah, definitely, I think if you're not involved or in any of that or putting yourself in any type of danger like that, I mean, your probabilities are a lot less.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's a lot higher if you're in a place that, you're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or you're looking for something.
Yeah, I mean, it can find you anywhere, man. I'm telling you, I have friends that I grew up in my neighborhood that, and even family members that have been in jail for over 40 some years, they were just doing something they weren't supposed to, or they were somewhere where they weren't supposed to be, or continuing to do things, and put themselves in that lifestyle. And then it just becomes habit. Like everything we do, and personally, my thought is it's habit, when you live that lifestyle, it becomes habit. You want to go and kick it with the homies and drink and do this and do that. When you were told don't even come around, But yeah, man, it is what, everyone has that freedom to live their life here. And sometimes you get caught up, and that's what, that's what happens.
Yeah. Do you think it's something like psychological that people tend to gravitate towards that kind of behavior, or do you think that it's like an environment thing?
It's funner to hang out and drink and do drugs and go to work, right?
True.
So we always look for the path with the least resistance.
Okay.
I'm big because it's easier to be big than it is to lose weight. I have to get up. I have to go put my shoes on. I have to get my mind straight. I got to put in. I can't just go and do 10 minutes of treadmill. I got to do an hour. You know what I'm saying? Then you got to come back and you got to shower. You got to hit some weights. Whatever it is you have to do, it's harder than just to wake up, go to whatever spot that you like, eat your breakfast, your pancakes, come home and chill.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that's something too when people don't live their dreams, and we talk about that a lot on my podcast as well, or our podcast with the guys. The fear of failure and the fear of, like I said, the resistance that you're going to have holds you from creating or becoming or even taking the chance to go and do what you have to do. My father always wanted me to he worked for the city that we grew up in. He worked for the city of Buena Park for, his life. He retired. He has his home. He had his kids, vacations and whatever. And he always wanted me to do the same. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only boy. My mom would always be like, no, you do what you want to do. Live your dream. Do what you, she was always my cheerleader, bro. And she's the one, and once I became Super Steve and I started doing the KROQ thing, once that happened, my dad took it and he ran with it because he always wanted to do radio too. So, he'd wear my buttons because, when I went to KROQ, bro, there was, I created the whole enchilada. I'm the first guy there that was I had my own logo. I had shirts, I had stickers, I had pins. I was giving away stuff, and the program director was like, are we making this stuff? And she called me in, and I was like, no, bro, yeah. I am, and the kids, the kids on the street team were wearing my shirt, Super Steve's my homeboy, this and that. And it was just like, I was just pushing myself out there. So, you have to take those risks in your life and believe in yourself. And even if you don't have someone that believes in you, I have the guy that we had on our podcast not too long ago, Hector. He works on high end Ferraris, Porsches, Lambos. He's been working for somebody for years and years. And he finally just said, you know what? I'm opening my shop. And it's scary. I've talked to him. I was just over hanging out with him yesterday. It's scary. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know when your next customer is going to come in, but he believes in his skill enough where he's going to make it. And his partner has his back. I think that's what helps out a lot too. When you have someone that believes in you is very crucial.
Absolutely.
And for me, it was my mom that would always be like, nah, you do it, kid.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, you need you don't need it, but it always helps, right?
Yeah, you have because there's times where you're alone, bro.
Yeah,
and you have to be able to overcome the fears and the self doubts. But when you do have someone that, no matter what, is there and cheerleads you on, even if it's a friend or whoever it may be, that does help out a lot.
The Mind Buzz is powered by Mind Buzz Media. Mind Buzz Media is an on-site video and audio podcast production company. Have you ever thought about starting your own video and audio podcast? Or do you have an existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Mind Buzz Media brings a professional podcast studio to you. Visit mindbuzz.org for more. Yeah. When you first got into radio, like how many other Chicano or Mexican radio personnel were there?
None. So it was white, bro. There was King of Mexico, who was a phone operator at the time, and Omar, who was the board operator on Kevin and Bean. But Chicano, like me, like representing, I was the one, bro. I was the one. Nice. And I'm not talking smack on those guys. I think Dave's from East LA, but like really representing and being true to his roots. And people be like, "Where you from?" I'd be like, "Southern California." I never said a city. I never said this. In my mind, I was representing everybody, and that didn't become really prevalent to me until we started doing my podcast. And then people were coming on, going, "Oh, I remember listening to you, bro, on KROQ. And if you could do it, I know I could do it, blah, blah, blah," kind of stuff like that, And I was like, wow, man, that's crazy. I didn't know how much effect it really had. Because in the moment, I mean,
you're just doing your thing, right?
I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
I'm partying. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I'm going to, all the weenie rolls, the acoustic Christmases, and just having a blast, man. Just having a blast. You go to like different bars and stuff, and people are treating you like, "Oh, come on in for free. It's KROQ's here, blah, blah, blah." And, it had a lot of weight back in the day.
Did you see that, like, when it was happening? Like, while it was happening, did you notice, did you, like, step back at one point and say, "Damn, like, I'm the only brown person, on radio at the time"?
No, because again, man, you can't do that. And this is why, because then you start thinking other things. Why? Oh, they must hate brown. Or they do. Dude, don't put that in your head, bro. Mm-hmm. You do you. And don't look at yourself as brown or white. Or you do you. What's your dream?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you do you and you fulfill your dream and you work hard at it, other people will see it that look like you and will reap the benefits from it.
Right.
So you never had like I don't want to say like culture shock or anything like that, but just kind of like this like I guess I'll give you an example, right? I grew up in a city with predominantly Latinos, right? 90% Latinos. When I had to go out college wise and do something, and then I was a minority, right? Where I was a majority in my city. For me, it was like, whoa, like I psyched myself out, right? I was just like, okay, I have this phobia of like, I don't want to say phobia, but you know what I mean? Like now I was just overthinking these things. Was there any point that you had that thought, or from the get-go, it was just, I am who I am and I'm coming in and they're going to, accept me? However.
My life has always been, I am who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why people be like, oh, you have you didn't allow things to stop you from going and being on the #1 show in Los Angeles, which is it's crazy. If you really think about it, it's crazy to go on to the #1 morning show in LA and be a part of that. But you can't lose weight, Steve? Yeah, bro, because I didn't see that. I don't see those things. You know what I'm saying? I don't see those phobias. I don't see the things that other people notice and are like, oh my God, I'm the only brown guy here. Cool, I'm the only brown guy. Let me show you how we do it.
Yeah.
I ended up going to Groundlings.
Which is what is that?
Which is the Groundlings school of Jesus Christ, man. It's like Acme, Groundlings. Okay. It's all
Can you pull that up, Ember?
Yeah. My mind just drew a blank. I went there for 3 years.
What is it called?
The Groundlings School of Improv. There you go. It's an improv school.
The Groundlings?
Oh,
Groundlings. Oh. Groundlings. It's in off of Melrose. And a lot of big time people came out of there. And I did that because I wanted to sharpen my skills up,
Okay.
Oh, Groundlings.
Groundlings. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
What is it? One of the leading theater in school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I went there for 3 years.
That's cool.
Oh, damn. I didn't even know they had something like this.
They have, Acme has one too. It's called Acme. Yeah, all kinds of people come out of those.
Oh, look at Melissa McCarthy.
Yep.
Dang.
Former, yeah. That's cool.
Okay.
And that sharpened my skills. And when I was going, Kevin was like, I can tell, bro. You're getting sharp. You're getting sharper. So, I mean, I maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm lucky and I didn't have people that threw it in my face, because there's people that have stories, you know, and I'm not trying to say that, you know, it doesn't happen or it, you know, whatever. But I mean, I've always had great people that surrounded me. You know what I'm saying? From my boy Brad, Lightning was great. My boy Chuck, my boy G, all these guys that I met through KROQ, Kevin, Aisa, Amy Stevens, everybody there, whether you were white or whatever. I mean, the one thing about KROQ is we were KROQ. You know what I'm saying? There was no one else like us. And that attitude, you can feel it. And that's why at that time we were number one, bro. We killed it. Everywhere we go, people wanted us there. People would do anything for a sticker. And I'm talking about anything, bro.
What was the wildest thing that you've seen somebody do for a sticker?
Lick the black top, like the length of a car stall. Lick the black top, and when they got up, their tongue was black.
Whoa!
For a sticker, I was like, "Holy!" But that was before Janet Jackson ended up exposing herself on the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Because once that happened, everything just changed. Man.
Really?
Yeah, everything changed.
What do you mean? Why did it change? Because of the
people just got scared of. I mean, we were told that we couldn't do anything too crazy anymore because that exposure.
What year was that? Was it like 2002, something like that?
2003, I think.
Yeah?
Maybe. 2004. Because I remember, something around there.
It changed a lot of things.
It did.
Not even
What?
TV, movies, everything.
So that changed. And then there was a lady who, I think back east, they did a contest and it was hold your pee for a wee. Or hold your wee for a wee. And she ended up dying because she held it and it started going into her system and it was messing up her organs, internal organs, and she ended up passing away.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you know how long she held it for?
Well, she won and died. So, I mean, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. All I know is that we had a meeting and it was just like, okay, guys, you can't be doing this. You can't do that. You can't do these crazy games. This one, Jimmy C, used to bring this vial that with one drop, it was like a hot sauce. With one drop, it would marinate 10 pounds of meat. It was that hot. And he would, for upgrades or whatever tickets, he would put one drop in your mouth.
No.
2 minutes. Okay, you guys survived. 2 drops.
Damn.
Another 2 minutes. Oh, you 2 survived. 3 drop, and it kept going till it got hot. People were puking. People were like, I mean,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they did a lot of great, and that's not even the half of it. I mean, there's stuff that that I'm sure they were like, oh, don't talk about, you know, me doing that or whatever. But yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff.
Was that the height of KROQ? Like, where was the peak?
I think the peak. What
was the peak era of?
I think
KROQ?
it was when Jimmy Kimmel was still there. So it was right before me. I think when Tad and Jimmy Kimmel were still there, I came in right after Tad. When Tad left, it was me. Mm-hmm. It was Super Steve. So I think that I got a little bit of the mountain, and then, you know, it started coming down. But it didn't really, I mean, I left, well, I don't know. It's crazy because I hear people now and people that came like years after, like Jimmy was gone, so-and-so was gone. They're like, oh yeah, KROQ was so dope. I go, nah, bro, you don't even know.
You don't know the real KROQ.
No, and they don't. And sometimes I want to say something, you know, like on the post and be like, come on, dude, you're kidding yourself, right? But yeah, I mean, KROQ, they invented the festival. Yeah. You know, Weenie Roast. That was the biggest festival in LA. If you go look at all of the lineups, you'll be like, holy shit, like Rage. You know what I mean? The lineups were
I remember.
Pull up some of the old posters.
I think
for
my
Weenie
sister
Roast.
went to a Weenie Roast. Her now husband.
Pull up a Weenie Roast roster.
Not only that though, but even the acoustic Christmas ones. It's a headliner.
Oh, I remember those.
Headliner. And it's like, you see those, you're like, holy. Shaq came down in a helicopter. After winning the title, he showed up in a helicopter, came down and rapped with Eminem at a Weenie Roast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you have Jane's Addiction. You had Rage Against the Machine. That was one show.
Yeah, that was all headliners. Dude.
Yeah. I mean, And then my boy Chuck did a lot of that artwork too.
Look at Metallica, The Offspring,
Rockin' Tours, Rise Against, Bad Religion, Pennywise, Scars on Broadway.
Flogging Molly.
You know?
MGMT, Flowbots.
And those guys were on the second stage.
This was what, Flowbots? 2008.
So the bottom ones were MGMT, Flowbots, Pluto. All that was the second stage before the main even opened.
You remember that, Amber? I could ride my bike with no handlebars. Mm-hmm. No handlebars.
Look at it right there. Stone Temple Pilots, Sublime, Deftones, Devo,
Paramore.
You don't see lineups like these anymore.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all. And that's why, like I said, they invented the festival.
Yeah,
they invented the festival. I mean, and then when you did acoustic was like, man, movie stars were there because it used to be at the at Universal at the Gibson at Universal. Mm. And backstage, man, you had everybody. You had all the bands that weren't playing. They just wanted to go hang out. And then you had movie stars, and you had everybody was there, bro. Because there was a backstage, and then there was a backstage. We had a little bar, you know, losing money to Mike Ness. He's rolling dice, and you want to play? Cool, put your money down. Slash is back there talking to Billy Idol, and we're all watching Manny Pacquiao or Mayweather fight, you know, because it was the same day. Yeah, man, it's craziness.
Did you ever get like starstruck?
No.
What was your secret?
I don't know. You know what? I've never been for anything though.
Yeah.
For anything. Like there's people that, you know, at the time I was a big Rage Against the Machine fan, or, you know, there's people that are fans of a certain type of music and they know everything about that genre or that person or what I don't. Mm-hmm. You know, even like sports. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm a Laker fan, I'm a Dodger fan, but I can't tell you who's on first, what's on second. I can't. I don't get deep into stuff like that.
There's nothing that you fixate on, right?
No, I mean,
that's how I am.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, you know, Vince Vaughn was back there. There's, you know, we're talking to, I mean, I remember this, the Foo Fighters were at the Troubadour. Okay. And you have to think about this, put it in perspective. Dave Grohl was part of one of the most influential bands in music, Nirvana. Then he goes and hits another home run with the Foo Fighters. That guy's a rock legend, okay? We're watching them play at the Troubadour. It's a KROQ thing. And Pap Smear was there, and he's an original old school punk rocker from Orange County. So I go up to him and I say, hey, Pap, can I take a photo with you? You know, Germs, so he's old school. Oh, yeah. I was the only guy that knew that or that even took a photo with him. Dave Grohl comes up to me, grabs me, goes, what about me, bro? So I took a photo with him as well. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, even that wasn't like, you know, I enjoy it. I think they're amazing artists, you know? I mean, mm-hmm. if I wouldn't have been in radio, I think the other dream of mine would be to perform, you know?
Like perform like what?
Music.
Oh, okay.
And to have people there, like, you know, following you because like, you know, when you're there and you're not making them, but you have the power to have these people clap when you want them to, sing your song, that energy, you know what I'm saying? That energy.
Do you think that there's a same type of like energy when being on a radio or a podcast, but it's just being, you know, received differently?
I don't think there's that type of energy, but I think there's an energy because I'll tell you this. We were doing a calendar signing and someone came up to me and goes, hey, Super, can I have your autograph? And I was like, oh, bro, you don't want my autograph, dude. Like, this is in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And Lightning came up to me and he goes, Steve, you have to understand something, bro. These people wake up every morning and they listen to you. You're the first thing they listen to in the morning. You're part of their day. Don't ever say no to somebody when they want your autograph. Like you are part of them. Even they don't know you as who you are, but they know the character that you portray on this radio, and that's part of their life. Don't deny them that. And I was like, dude, I never saw it that way. And then I was like, all right. I understood. So there is a different type of I don't want to say power, but like
it's
energy,
like a relationship, right?
A relationship, yeah.
Yeah, because that makes perfect sense to somebody. They're part of their day, their routine. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I comb my ass hairs, whatever you do, and they get a cup of coffee. They get in the car. They're listening to you on their way, and it's just like could be background noise or whatever but your voice is still. They're listening to you.
Yeah. And to you too. That's what I'm saying. Like you have this podcast. There's people that subscribe. There's people that, hey, do you guys got stickers? What do you have? Can you send me something? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? You've become part of their life. So yes, we do have a relationship, but I think it's different with music. To me, I think music started hitting me different when I lost my parents because I'll listen to music. It's cool. I mean, like when I want to, when I'm working out, I listen to some heavier stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've never been one of those people like, oh, that touched me in this way. And like, oh my God, that brought these memories back. That's just never been me.
Mm-hmm.
But when my parents passed away, all the rancheras, norteñas, all the old school stuff they listened to, I would start listening to, and it just brought back memories, and it brought back feelings and missing and all those things. And I think that was the first time that I really understood when people talk about how music touches you in a certain way. Yeah. Yeah.
There's honestly, there's something that happens in the brain.
Yeah.
When that happens, because I think it's like it's not your brain, it's your nervous system. I think that's what it is, because you're like when you hear a song or a certain song or a singer, it registers in your brain and it gives you this feeling. We got to look it up, Amber. But I think it's like something, it's your nervous system that happens. The same concept with trauma.
Yeah.
If I think it's in the same realm of like positive or negative trauma, because it's all trauma, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think the most traumatic thing I've ever had is losing my parents, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's pretty traumatic. But for anybody.
But for men, it's different though, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've lost your parents or not. I have, and I have sisters. So as a man, you're expected to take care of everything.
Right.
To this day, my dad's been passed away for 10 years. It's about 10 years. My mom about 3 or 4. I've never had a moment to really sit there and think about it and go through the emotions. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to be strong. You have to take care of stuff. You have to be the guy. You have to do this and that. No one ever asks you, hey, how are you feeling? Oh, hey, how's so-and-so? How's your sister? How's that? No one goes, hey, how are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've never had the chance to mourn, But like I said, so that's why I think the music has hit me different when I do listen to like specific norteñas and stuff of that nature, what they listen to. My dad was born here, but he listened to a lot of Mexican music.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I know. I get that feeling when I hear some oldies.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my father. My father passed away in 2017.
Yeah, my dad 2013.
And I think this year, next year, my mom would be gone 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've grown. I think I lived longer without my mother than I did when I was a child. That's crazy. I just thought of that like not too long ago, and it like hit me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's because you have that bond, Yeah, man, it's crazy, especially with the later success that I've had as well. With Michelada Rumble and doing events. My mom was there to see it. My dad wasn't, and yeah, my mom told me one time, she's like, "Hey, I'll have something to talk to your dad about when I visit, or when it's my turn to go." I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Like, damn, that was pretty crazy. That was pretty intense. I think that was, but yeah, man. I mean, like I said, that's probably the most traumatic thing that's ever really happened to me in my life.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of trauma. I mean, it's definitely a lot of trauma. And I think like even just culturally, you know, with you saying like, you know, nobody asks you how you are and things like that. And the feeling of you having to feel that you have to take care of your family, you know, because that you're trying to fill in the role of who your dad was in the family. I mean, that's even heavier on top of just having the passing, you know, it's still this like feeling of having to, you know, fill that void for your family. And I mean, I could only imagine.
Yeah, and nothing prepares you for that.
Oh,
nothing in life will prepare you for an event like that. Nothing.
There's friends of mine whose parents have passed away or whatever, or they're close to passing, and they're like, "Oh, how is it?" I go, "Bro,
can't tell you.
I can't. I can't explain to you what you're gonna feel. I can't." And people,
I could try. I can tell you my story, but that's not gonna.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Or even like, "Oh, does it get easier?" No.
Yeah.
Because the more successful you become, the more milestones that you achieve, you think about them and like, "Oh, what would they have thought?"
Yeah.
So,
dude, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I think to myself, I'm like, I wonder like what, you know, my mother would think of what I'm doing, or my dad. He probably think it would be really cool because he was a music guy. He loved listening to the radio. Most of my passion for music and audio and sound, it's because of him.
Yeah. And
I know if he would see what I'm doing, you know, with this project that I'm doing right now, oh, he'd be ecstatic. Yeah.
Amazing.
You'd want to know what, like, oh, you're on YouTube, like that's crazy, you know, because he was older. I was the youngest out of two, and he was just fascinated with like with just like audio and radio stuff, and I know that if he would have seen like what this is and YouTube and doing live stuff and being on Spotify. Oh, Spotify would have blew his fucking mind, dude. It would have blew his mind. iTunes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What, my phone plays all that music, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, back then, I mean, your phone didn't play all that.
Yeah, I think him and I used to load up music. I used to load music with LimeWire. And he used to give me USBs and, hey, can you put music on here? He was like, just put a couple of CDs. And I loaded that thing with like 2,000 songs, and he was just like, he was flabbergasted on the amount of technology it was. But I mean, Spotify, dude, he would have lost his fucking mind, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man. Like I said, you know, I mean, yeah, man, losing your parents is a whole different deal, man. It's a whole different. And I mean, I haven't lost siblings yet, you know. So I don't know. I don't know how that would be. You know, and I don't have any children, so you know. But yeah, that's a crazy thing, man. And I think it's always harder for men because, like you know, like we're saying, we always have to be, you know, the rock.
Yeah.
You know? And that's one thing that always gets me when, you know, people always, you know. We don't get, you know how they say you don't get your flowers, you know what I'm saying? Only when you're dead. You don't get them when you're alive. Men never get flowers, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's just natural. It's not like, you know, I don't know, man. And the things that we do and we go through, no one ever celebrates you. You know what I'm saying? Like you should be.
Yeah. But is that changing now, or is it?
I think it's worse.
Is it still? Is it?
So?
I think it's worse. I think because you know, and again, not political or anything, but like, you know. Here's what I see. I see a lot of women celebrate women a lot, and that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when I see my Latina sisters and friends and everybody, they celebrate each other. But there's no group where guys are here celebrating each other. You know. We don't say, you know, you don't hear, at least I don't know, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear, hey, what a great job from another man? Or, hey, bro, that was dope. You know what I mean? It's really silent. Because I was just talking to my boy and the guy that opened up a shop. He's there 7 days a week.
Damn.
Working. And he, you know, we were talking about that. And he's like, you know what? No one ever comes by. And I was like, and I told him, I said, you know what? And it started because I turned around and said, you know what? You're a great example of a father because you're sacrificing all that you're doing, your time, everything to provide for your kids. And you have two great children. I mean, man, you're a great example.
Why do you think that happens? Like, why are men not celebrated enough?
It's not in our culture. It's not in our culture.
Right.
It's not. I don't think it's in any culture. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days when we hunted for food, who would go out? The man. And if he died, well, it is what it is. You know? But it's cultural.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, Gil, right? I mean, you have a couple friends that do, I mean, throughout the week and things like that. Like, you guys tell each other, like, oh, that was really cool what you did, or things like that, right?
Yeah, I think we've come to, like, a comfortable... And that's the weird thing. You have to be comfortable with somebody to praise them.
Yeah.
And I think we need to break that. Like that what is it? Like you have to have some kind of positive. Yeah, right. That's what it is.
It's vulnerability because I text my friends all the time. I don't see my friends often. And I literally text them like, hey, I love you. Hope you have a good day. Send them a little gift card, you know, to get a drink, something like that. And then couple of days later, someone's like, hey, thinking of you. Hope you're having a great day. Like, we do that. I do that within, you know, my friends or my family and things like that. But I'm okay with if somebody doesn't reciprocate it to me, I'm okay with that because I'm a firm believer. I mean, I've lost people in my life, my grandmothers, you know, people like that. And those are things that I never wanted to go through life without letting people know the way that I feel about them. And I tell Gilbert that, like, or Gil, sorry. I tell him that, like, I'm giving you government name.
Am I in trouble?
No,
I feel like I'm in trouble now.
But I tell Gil all the time, like, you know, I tell you that I love you and that I appreciate you and that what we're doing or what you're doing is great because I don't want to go a day without me letting you know how I feel, right? Even if it's me telling him 10 times out of the day, but if I feel it, I'm going to say it. And I think it's me being vulnerable. And I think that that's where it comes with people not saying things as vulnerability because we don't want to be judged or we, you know, or especially men, you guys don't want to be like, oh, you guys are gay or, you know, something in that realm.
I don't think it's gay. I think it's, oh, you're not a man's man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've had relationships like that where I try to be as vulnerable as I can. I try to be as expressive as I can. And it does change the relationship. It does change it. And so you tend to hold back on those kind of things because you're like, well, you know, she thinks of you as less of a man or whatever, you know. But I've started to do that, more of that. I've started to do more of, you know, telling people, hey, man, that's a great job. Like I said, like I told my boy, I go, you know what? You're a great example of a dad. My two cousins, Father's Day just passed. And I sent them a text. I go, hey, man, you guys are awesome examples of fathers, blah, blah, blah. And I think coming from your kids is one thing because it's Father's Day. But when another man tells you like, hey, I see, I think that changes it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it becomes easier too. Like if you're practicing it every day or every other day, then it just becomes easier and it just falls out of the tongue, you know? Yeah. Like I know it's becoming easier for, you know, for our circle because like we do the same things and we see the quality, we see the hustle and we understand it. Mm-hmm. The more that we understand it, like we give props to them like, hey dude, like you're doing your thing, man. Yeah. And we know it takes hard work to do that.
Yeah, it does. It does to be vulnerable, and especially with like you said, with other men, it really is. But we got to do it, man. You know, there's no shame in telling someone they're doing a great job, especially when you see it.
Yeah,
you know, when you notice it,
when you recognize it. You recognize it, and you're just like, damn, dude, like you're doing everything right now.
Yeah,
like Super Steve, you're besides KROQ, you have the Michelada Rumble, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, my good friend Brad. Which is my business partner, one of my best friends. He does a lot of events. He does stuff for Sony PlayStation. That's his thing. And he's all come up with an event, a Latino event, and I'll back it up. 100%. And I'm like, all right. So I came up with a Michelada festival called Michelada Rumble. And it was a festival for micheladas. This was back in October 2012. 2012, I think.
Oh, wow. So it's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's been for a while.
Okay.
And 2013. So it's been around for a while. And the first one, man, he's like, I'm all, bro, I don't have the money to pay you back. He's like, I don't care. He goes, you work your tail off. Whether we win or lose, I'm happy. As long as you do what you have to do. And we did. And it's ever since then, man. And we've added stuff. We've added a car exhibition element to it. Lucha Libre, folklorico dancing, mariachi music, and then a artist portion. We've had DJ Quick, we've had Warren G, Too Short, Baby Bash, Trish Toledo, Angie V. I mean, the list goes on. But yeah, I've been blessed to be able to do that. And
have you always done it at the Santa Anita racetrack?
That's where we started.
Yeah,
that's where we started. But we do 6 a year. So
that's right. You do more than just one event.
Yeah. So we go to Phoenix, Vegas, up north. We've done San Diego before. The IE, we did it at Paris Fairgrounds.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, man, it's been crazy. But fun. I mean, you know, the opportunities and have been there. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, my life is just, I can't sit here and be like, oh, you know, this and that, or complain, because I'm living a dream, dude. I really am. I'm living a dream, and I've had the opportunity to have people that believe in me. And, you know, some people say luck. I say opportunity. Luck is opportunity with hard work. You know what I'm saying? When those two things meet, that's what luck is.
You know? And what's hard work? Like, if you were to break that down, if somebody asks you, like, what, Super Steve, how, like, to get where you are at, like, what type of hard work would I need to do? And what is the mindset behind that?
Okay. When I was younger, I poured concrete with my pop, so that's hard work. What I'm doing is not hard work. But to get where you want to be, A, you have to believe in yourself. B, you can't sit around and think about why I can't get there. You have to figure out how to get there. You know what I'm saying? I have a friend, Selah, who was, he sings and stuff. And I told him, I said one day, I said, hey, Selah, when it's the hardest, when you want to give up the most, you're the closest to your dream. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up, because that's where everyone else gives up. And the ones that don't make it. So you can't give up on yourself, man, whatever that dream is. You know what I mean? And be honest with yourself too, though. I mean, am I ever going to be an NBA player? No. You know what I'm saying? Am I a race car driver? No. There's things that you have to be honest with yourself in what it is that you're trying to accomplish and to be. If you don't know how to play an instrument, you don't know how to sing, you're not a rock and roll star.
Yeah.
You know
you have to outweigh, you have to be realistic, right?
I don't even think, realistic.
Is it realistic?
Yeah, you have to be realistic, and you have to also, you know, I mean, yeah, you can probably play at the local pub.
Right.
But you know you're not on that level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's some people that just aren't.
It's a lot of self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
Knowing where you are and knowing where you are and with your talent, right?
Yeah. You have to, A, recognize the talent that you have, and B, recognize where that fits in. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But there's people that don't. There's people that, you know, and I'm very honest, you know. When people ask, I'm going to tell you. Don't ask me, because I'm going to tell you the truth. You know, and it's funny because I was at a restaurant in Big Bear, a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
My friends were, oh, this place is dope. I was like, all right, dude. The lady comes up, oh, how was the chile verde? And I go, that wasn't good. And she looked at me like, what? I go, yeah, it tastes like it came out of a can.
Damn.
And she just looked at me, grabbed my plate, and just walked away. Like, don't ask me, because I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Don't ask.
Right. That's how Amber acts when I take her to eat mariscos.
Any Mexican restaurant.
Any Mexican restaurant, right?
Yeah, my dad was not a Mexican restaurant guy.
Right?
No.
It's because, so when we started dating, I always say the story. When we started dating, I mean, he didn't, not growing up with his mom or things like that. Like, he didn't have anyone to really cook a real Mexican dinner for him. So he always looked to go to Mexican restaurants. So when we started dating, he was like, oh, I want to go to this Mexican restaurant. And I was like, damn, for Mexican food, like, I'll cook it at home or my mom makes it, But I was like, all right, we're dating. So he would take me to these restaurants and, oh, it's so good right here. The aguachile is
You know
the
what?
best.
I think it was just me trying to impress you, taking you to a Mexican restaurant and trying to show her that, hey, you know what?
I know what's up.
I could be Mexican.
I could be Mexican.
Yeah, she's a real Mexican girl. All right.
But he didn't know that my mom was from, a coast and my dad was from a coast and I knew what real mariscos taste like. I knew what real,
But you know why the bar was so raised? Because on our first date, I took her to go eat some tacos on the side of the road on Washington Boulevard and Whittier, I think. Yeah. And we went to Carlos's Tijuana Tacos, and it was just a pop-up. Now he has restaurants everywhere, but back then he just did pop-ups. And weren't those tacos pretty good?
They were good.
I thought I was like, okay, all right, I think I know what's up now. Yeah. I know what's up.
You got brave.
I got brave. So the whole coast thing, I didn't really understand that. But when I took her to this place down the street, she was just like, walk a lot, dude.
There are some good Mexican restaurants out there. There are.
But it's
it's far and few between.
Yeah,
it really is. Because when you're eating it at home, your mom makes it a certain way. That's I'm not even saying that my mom made the best.
Yeah.
She made what I liked.
Yeah, right. That's what I
know what I'm
tell.
saying?
That's what I
So
say.
you might come over and be like, oh, that's not even that good.
Yeah.
But it's because it's what so when people tell me, oh, dude, this is the best burger joint, I go, first of all, who did you go with? When did you go? Oh, I was a little kid. Me and my dad used to go all the time, or me and my cousin. Blah, blah.
You're like, nah.
It's memories, bro.
Yeah.
The burgers are all right. The fries are the onion rings aren't that crispy. It's memories. It's memories.
Yeah.
So most people's favorites are memories, especially when it comes to food. Especially if it's a restaurant that's been there forever. The majority of them are memories that you have and a time when you would go. I mean, Shakey's used to be the bomb when we would go because my dad would take us every other payday. We'd go to Shakey's and we'd go play on the games. The pizza's decent. The Mojos used to be good. Now they're just out of a bag. They used to hand cut them. And so, I mean, it's just memories, man. We used to go there after, the soccer games or whatever was going on. Shakey's was a spot to go, birthdays. So it's a memory. It's not the best pizza around.
Yeah, it's the memories that were good, not the pizza or the Mojos.
I always say anytime I recommend something, I'm not like, oh, it's the best. It's, hey, you know what? I liked it. We enjoyed it. Go for yourself. Because I understand that concept of like, I think my parents cook amazing, right? And all my family says, oh, everything your parents make, blah, blah, blah. But I know the reality of, like you said, like, I'm biased because that's what I've been eating my entire life. So if somebody comes and they don't like it, that's okay too.
We went to Amber's mother's house to eat dinner today. And I told her, I was like, oh, Lorena, these enchiladas were delicious. Thank you. And she told me, she looked me straight in my face. And she was like, you don't have to tell me that my food's delicious all the time, Gil. She told me that. And I was just like, oh, all right.
Because my mom has that complex of, that's where I get it from. My mom's like, I know that my food's like, like you're just saying that because you're my kid or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that their cooking is good. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know some kids or some friends of mine that'd be like, my mom doesn't cook for nothing.
Yeah.
It was trash or whatever, So, when you have a mom, I mean, my mom was a stay-at-home mom and, there was something every day. My dad would come home and there was, whether it was enchiladas or, and it's crazy because my favorite dish my mom would make, paz descanse, meatloaf. Because it was different. It was different. Yeah. I remember one time my mom put beans in front of me. I was like, oh, beans again. And my dad sat across from me. He looked at me. I was like, oh, man, I'm probably going to get in trouble, whatever. He looked at me. He goes, you know why you eat beans? Because you're a beaner. And I was like, what the hell? And I love beans now, bro. I love me some good beans. But yeah, that's the kind of household I had, man. You know, my dad would cook on the weekends. He would cook flour tortillas in the morning, breakfast, eggs, bacon, beans, and potatoes. And then we'd barbecue outside on the weekends. My mom cooked Monday through Friday, you know. Yeah, it was great, man. Like I said, I mean, I can sit here and look at back in my life and be like, you know, I've had a great life, you know, and I'm continuing to have a great life, you know, with friends and opportunities and, you know, creating the West Coast Pop Block with those two guys, you know, that came out of nothing, you know.
How did that come about?
After I left radio, I was like, you know, I still had the bug to do something. So I had tried to create a podcast with multiple different
And what
co-hosts.
year was this?
Shoot.
What was that when?
2018, I think.
Oh, okay.
2018. I mean, I was trying, I mean, like I had my cousin on it with me one time. I had my friend, this and that. And then I had Johnny on and I was like, I don't care. I don't want to do it no more. And Johnny hit me up one time. He goes, hey man, I need this. I need this outlet. Let's just keep doing it. He goes, it's just you and me though. And Mario, that's it. We don't need no other people. And I was like, all right. So we started doing it. And then it just evolved, you know, and it became.
Earlier at the top of the podcast, you said something that really stuck with me, the popularity of radio and how you're on KROQ at you know a certain peak. Did you see I don't want to say the downfall of radio because radio is still, I mean, it's still around, it's still part of people's lives now. Did you see any difference when like did you notice like any trends in radio back when you were doing it? Yeah, I mean,
music changes, you know what I'm saying? So there's musical change all the time. There's new bands that come out. And what I saw when I first got there, Johnny Cash came out with Hurt. The program director called us in, Kevin Weatherly, called a few of us in, and he asked people what they thought. And when he came to me, he goes, Steve, what do you think? I said, you know what, bro? Doesn't matter what I think. You already know what you're going to do. And I said, we play and we set the trend. That's what KROQ does. We don't ask people what they think. We set the trend. And I think that was the last time that we really, really set the trend because we played that song that day. And I remember Power 106 playing it after we played it. I remember all the stations just started playing that song because it was such a crazy song. And especially to have Johnny Cash perform Hurt, it was just out there. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you start getting money involved in corporations and stuff, and they're just seeing a bottom line, they're not really seeing KROQ is a staple of Southern California. They broke No Doubt, you know, and these are newer bands, No Doubt, Sublime. At the top of my head, I can't even, just so many bands I can't even think right now. But, you know, the White Stripes, like all these bands that you can think of, they're the ones that broke them. You know, they're a staple of Southern California. The Cure, I mean, you know, how far back you want to go. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah.
That's what, like mid-80s?
Mid-80s, yeah. I mean, you would go to the swamp meet and there were tapes that were called KROQ flashbacks.
Really?
And those are the Cure, Depeche Mode, all that new wave. Those were considered KROQ flashbacks. There were DJs that would put on their business cards, I play KROQ flashbacks.
Is there anything now that you would like say, oh, this is like radio? Is it podcasting?
No. It's different. Look at the conversation we've had. There's been no commercials. There's been nothing.
Right.
It's you and me, long conversation, hanging out, talking about from our parents to KROQ to cooking. Like, that's not radio. Radio was, you know, 106.7 KROQ, KROQ, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're giving away this and that. You know, No Doubt. Here it is, blah, blah. And that's it. And every hour you had maybe 2 breaks, you know. And then you get a caller, who is this? Blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, you won, cool. Boom, boom. And so it was quick, but it was just so like programmed, you know?
Right.
So yeah, no, it's way different. It's
totally
way different. Yeah, totally different. Radio's still radio, and podcasting is something totally different. Has its own lane. This is just my opinion, of course.
Yeah.
Because you can't play music on podcasts. You know,
you can't. I mean, you could try, but you get flagged for it.
Yeah. You know, or you can play like unknown stuff. You know, but you can't play anything that, you know, people are hearing, or anyone that has any kind of label recognition or belongs to a label. You just can't. You know,
right.
And I remember at one point, a lot of people were doing podcasts with music. I had started one. You know, Music Revolucion. I had started one. I wanted to play a lot of like Spanish rock.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. Because I was also a VJ at LATV Live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
LATV Live.
Yeah.
What is that?
It was like an MTV, but here in LA. It was LATV Live. It was more...
Are they still doing those?
I don't know. I don't know if it's around anymore, but it was more like Spanglish, you know?
Okay.
So, and that was one thing that I didn't like about it, to be honest with you, because I don't speak that way. And the teleprompter was always in Spanglish, and it was just like, I was just like, dude, come on.
You're killing me here.
I go, who... Did you hire me for who I am?
Yeah.
Or what are we doing here? You know what I mean? I always felt like that was faking the funk. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why are we trying to fake it? Just let us be who we are.
18 years of radio. Did you is there anything that you've taken the 18 years into what you are doing with West Coast Pop Lock? I'm here to ask you for your secrets, Super Steve.
Just confidence,
yeah,
and talking and being able to talk. You know, because radio's quick. Radio's quicker. Remember, you have one break, two breaks. When I created the whole enchilada with Super Steve, it was a segment that I had there, and I would go ask questions. You know, how to cure. You know, remedies for a hangover, whatever, to Latinos, and crazy shit would be said. How to pick up on that in women, you know, how to survive in jail. So you have just this little bit of time, and you have to get in there, and you have to be funny. You have to pop. You have to just boom, leave them wanting more. That's why I went to the Groundlings, because I needed a little sharper. I was good, but I needed that little quickness, you know. I've always been witty. I've always been, you know, funny kind of guy. But when you're on radio, you have a certain amount of time, and you have to be able to feed off those guys. Those your quarterbacks, you got to be able to, you know, catch the ball and score. But when you're on a podcast now, we have an hour 15, whatever it may be, and you have more time to express yourself and talk and be able to explore other things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, just I think just confidence. Not afraid to speak, not afraid to say something, you know. I mean, that's probably about it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Those are your secrets.
I mean, there's really no secret, man. You know what? To have a very successful podcast, just be yourself, man.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. Ask the things that you want to ask and you want to know, because your audience wants to know the same things. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're your audience. You know, the people that follow you have some of the same interests and likes. So whatever you're going to ask, they're waiting for those answers.
Ooh, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Super Steve, thanks for coming out and doing the podcast.
Thanks for having me, bro. I really
appreciate it, buddy. So go ahead and tell us where we can find you and what you have coming up.
You can find me at Super Steve Flores on Instagram, at the West Coast Pop Lock Podcast on Instagram, at Michelada Rumble on Instagram. We're going to have you guys pretty soon on our podcast as well. And you can pick up tickets for Michelada Rumble, which is coming to Santa Anita on September 16th of this year. We haven't announced the lineup yet, but it's always a great time, day drinking. I hope to have you guys out there as well. Come on out, enjoy the day.
Oh, yeah.
And just hang out, man. It's always a good time. And thank you for having me on. And, you know.
I'm there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm there physically there, and I'm there mentally.
Yeah. We always try to have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You guys have food out there?
Yeah, there's food. There's everything, bro. There's food. There's mariachi. There's lucha libre. There's a competition of micheladas. So there's multiple styles of micheladas. And we have, like I said, we have artists and we have a car exhibition. So there's a lot of nice cars to look at, take photos with. And yeah, man, it's a good old time.
All the links to Super Steve's stuff will be down in the show description. Go check him out. And we're going to be doing the West Coast Pop Lock podcast pretty soon, right?
Yeah, in a
couple weeks.
Yep.
So watch out for that. Call in and see what's going on with Amber. Not me, because I talk too much on here. Everybody loves Amber. She's the star of the show.
No, I see why. I see why.
Thanks, man.
My thumbs back here.
No, you're good. Do we have anything coming up, or we're good?
No, I don't think we have anything.
Oh, right.
No.
We're pretty quiet on this end, but thanks for listening, guys. Peace out.
The Mind Buzz.
Peace and love. See you guys in the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Mind Buzz podcast. Subscribe to the Mind Buzz YouTube channel and watch full podcast episodes. Keep up with the hosts, guests, and upcoming events by following the Mind Buzz on Instagram @the Mind Buzz. See you on the next one.